Hello, my naughties. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be talking about the amazing Tate McRae. There's been so much discourse on social media about Tate McRae and why she's not a main pop girl, or what's missing in her career, or why she's just not hitting the way that she should. And I have some theories, so I decided I wanted to share those with you because I love Tate McRae and I have been waiting for a Tate McRae supremacy since Greedy. And like a lot of Tate fans out there, I've been left flabbergasted as to why the general public has not really caught on to Tate McRae. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that I feel have been holding her back from pop mega stardom and give some ideas as to what can be done to rectify the situation. The first thing is the Britney Spears comparisons. So with Britney out of the music game, it's normal for people to want the next Britney Spears, but Britney comparisons have historically not really helped anyone. Christina Aguilera, Jessica Simpson, and Mandy Moore all found out the hard way when all of them debuted in 1999. That is so crazy. What a year to be a pop princess lover. But once comparisons start, you have to work really hard to shake those off and establish yourself as your own unique individual. Christina separated herself by being the bad girl to Britney's good girl. Jessica was unable to do so until she hit reality TV gold with the Newlyweds. And Mandy Moore practically left music altogether and is now most likely known as an actress. The problem with comparisons is that you're no longer seen as your own standalone product, but an inferior copy. And fans of the original resent that people would even dare to compare their classic Coke to the totally different, yet still kind of the same Pepsi. They don't have the same kind of attitude towards Sprite or Dr. Pepper or Fanta. They have their own unique flavor that sets them apart and doesn't threaten that sense of brand loyalty. That said, you can have similar products, but there needs to be some sort of twist that will create their own dedicated die-hard fan base. Think about it like Diet Coke versus Coke Zero fiends. Most people don't see the difference, but the die-hards do. Aside from that, the general public has their own certain expectations, and if those aren't met, they're left with disappointment. Tate started getting some attention and Britney Spears comparisons due to her similar performance style, as well as some intentional references. So the general public heard, "This girl is the new Britney," and then saw a performance of Greedy or Exes, and then got super excited. But then they go listen to her album, hoping for a bubblegum pop princess sound, but instead hear an album with a couple of songs, literally Greedy and Exes, and I think there might be one in there, but most of the album is mopey emo pop. So the public that came to Tate because of Britney ended up feeling a little bamboozled. This doesn't affect Tate's original fan base because they did not meet her as the next Britney Spears. They met her as the next Tate McRae. Tate has spoken about the Britney comparisons quite a few times, and to her credit, she does a really good job at answering those questions. But I think that in order to be her own artist, she needs to stop talking about her or referencing her, at least for a little bit. If I were her publicist, I would make sure that she just stopped talking about Britney altogether and instruct any interviewer to not ask about Britney. And I'm sure Tate's probably sick of talking about it anyway. Which leads me to my next point, which is the disconnect between her music and performance style. Now, don't get me wrong, her music is good and she's extremely talented, but she is being marketed as a sexy pop star when, like I mentioned, aside from Exes and Greedy, it's just not the case when you listen to her actual album. Most of the music is kind of sad girl music. Her performance style is confident, in your face, and bold. But most of the songs on Think Later are vulnerable, intimate, and delicate. I actually really felt this when I went to go see her Think Later tour. I talked my boyfriend into going because he liked the song Exes. Faces, as well as Greedy. And although she devoured those, I mean, she truly did. She blew me away. She was so good. But instead of spending the whole concert standing up and dancing, he was kind of sitting down for most of it. And after the show, he was like, I thought it was going to be more upbeat. Now, diehard fans know this, and they expect this, so they don't feel let down. They know that most of her music is Tate with a side of her cunty alter ego, Tatiana. But because of the marketing, the general public expects Tatiana all the time. And so do I, kind of. That said, it does seem like her album is going a lot more into the bop direction, which I'm excited for. It's Okay, I'm Okay, Two Hands, and Sports Car are definitely taking her in the right direction. So I'm really excited to hear this album. And one thing to keep in mind is that for pop girls to succeed, they need to keep their girl fans, but also become gay diva icons. And the gays want to dance. They don't want to mope. So hopefully this new album gives the gays everything they want so they can propel her to pop legend status. The next problem I think Tate faces is like this mysterious persona that she has. Tate's personality is known to her fans, but not to the general public. And anytime I see her at an event or a red carpet, she always gives this like mysterious, sultry vibe. And a mysterious, sultry vibe is good, but it's also very niche. The mainstream wants relatability, extravagance, shock, or transparency, but not necessarily mystery. Which I kind of feel is what also has been plaguing Madison Beer. Interestingly enough, there is a really huge disconnect, at least for me, when I see the Tate on social media and then the Tate on mainstream media. She's super relatable and goofy on social media, and I really wish that she would show more of that in mainstream media. Because of social media, we don't have a monoculture anymore. That's why she can be known by a huge group of people, but not the general public. So to break through the mainstream, I would put her anywhere and everywhere that her personality has a chance to shine. And not just red carpets. I don't know if she gets nervous in the red carpets or if she's like, trying to be sultry. But again, it's just a totally different vibe most of the times from the fun, goofy, lovable Tate that I see on her social media. She needs to do a lot more mainstream interviews and make appearances on places that have unique twists like Hot Ones or the Vanity Fair lie detector tests. Anytime people show up on those types of interviews, their personality really shines and you feel like you get to know that person on a deeper but lighter level. And she has done so many of these in the past, especially before Greedy. And she's done some after, like she did like an ASMR video and she does a couple like that, but she needs to do a lot more because that is where her personality shines and that is how people will get to know and love Tate McRae. Another thing that I would seriously consider is giving her her own reality show. It's worked in the past, like with Jessica Simpson, and I think it could work really well for Tate McRae, especially since she has such an interesting backstory. She's no stranger to television. She was doing like reality dance type shows in the past, but something more focused on just her and her career and her life will really help the public get to know her on a more personal level, and that relatability is what really will help connect people to her and make her a household name. I mean, kind of going back to the monoculture thing that I was talking about and the Britney comparisons, when Britney came out, there wasn't any social media. Everyone knew what was going on because we were all consuming the same thing. And they had Britney anywhere and everywhere doing all sorts of interviews, not just red carpets. So she would always do all these like goofy type of interviews. And the public fell in love with her because of that Southern charm, because of that sweetness and that relatability. And I feel like Tate could do the same by being in mainstream media a lot more, and then again, even possibly doing her own reality show. If not her own reality show, I would definitely book her to make a lot of guest appearances on other reality shows. The next thing I want to talk about is her cursive singing. Tate loves her cursive singing, and I don't mind it. She has a great voice, and she does it really well, and it works a lot in her music, but she would benefit from learning when to use it for its maximum benefit, and then when to enunciate like a regular singer. One of the most common complaints that I hear about Tate McRae is, I don't know what she's saying. I can never understand a word that she's saying. And it's kind of true. And it's fine for the verse, but people need to be able to understand and sing along to the chorus, or at least the hook. I mean, Greedy was such a huge hit, but imagine how much bigger it would be if you could actually understand what she was saying in the chorus. It's okay, I'm okay got better. You know, you can understand that she says, it's okay, I'm okay. But the rest can get a little like, wait, what did she say? Especially if you've never heard it before and you don't have the lyrics in front of you. A good example of someone who's kind of doing it right, I think, would be Camila Cabello, because they have very similar vocal styles. And her verses can also be very difficult to follow. But once the chorus or the hook kick in, all of a sudden you can understand what she's saying. The last thing that I'm going to bring up might be one of the biggest problems that Tate McRae has, and I call it the Halloween costume problem. Now, Tate McRae is criminally hot with the most enviable hair, and she does have like a sexy tomboy vibe, but you can't really dress up as Tate McRae for Halloween. I mean, you could, but you'd probably have to explain who you were to most people. And even after you told someone, I'm Tate McRae, a lot of those might still not even know who you were talking about, unfortunately. And although she does seem to have a very particular sporty, sexy tomboy style, which I love and it works very well for her, she just doesn't have any iconic looks that people will automatically recognize. Pop icons need instantly recognizable looks that people can recreate on Halloween. Think Britney's Slave for You, Christina Aguilera's Dirty, Ariana Grande's ponytail, sweater dress, thigh-high boots, Miley's infamous VMA look, Lady Gaga's meat dress, or Madonna's 80s bride outfit. And the current pop girls that are really making it big understand that. You can dress up as Chappell Roan, Charlie XCX, or Sabrina Carpenter for Halloween, and people would know exactly who you're supposed to be. Sabrina Carpenter is a perfect example of how effective something like this could be. Before she really hit it big and developed her own iconic style during Espresso and Short and Sweet, she didn't really have a recognizable style, and she was not a huge megastar. Suddenly put on some rhinestone platforms, cutesy lingerie, and heart this and heart that, and get a little bang and like recognizable hair, and she is a mega global pop star. So instead of a stylist, I would work with a costume designer to create a couple of iconic, instantly recognizable, and unique looks that people will remember and have the ability to recreate. And she doesn't even really need that many. You know, one or two super iconic looks would be good, or just something that's consistent. That, you know, I love that she's consistent with that tomboy thing, but just something to take it to the next level will take her to the next level. Now, all that said, I love Tate McRae. I am rooting for her. I have been rooting for her. I love her songs, even some of her mopey ones. Although, again, I met Tate McRae as, ooh, the next Britney Spears. Oh, look at her amazing performance style. And when I heard the album, I was a little let down by how mopey it was compared to my expectation of it being this like a pop album, but I still enjoyed it. And my god, she is like one of the best performers out there right now, and yet she is not getting the recognition that she deserves. I'm hoping things change with this new album. She seems to be getting into the groove a little bit more. Sports Car is like a perfect blend of cursive singing and Britney style music with that mysterious vibe. And I haven't checked the video out yet. I'm reacting to it right after this, but it seems like she's taking more risks in the fashion department. So I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for this album and for this tour. But what do you all think? Why is Tate McRae not a main pop girl? What will it take for her to have her espresso? Which is kind of crazy to say because Greedy was massive. It was huge. So she has already had her espresso of sorts. It's just that most people didn't know who sang that song. They knew the song, they just didn't know who it was. And a lot of it probably had to do with some of the things I mentioned before. But tell me everything, talk Tate and Tatiana to me in the comments. And if there's any other video ideas or recommendations, leave them down there in the comments. But thank you for spending time with me, talking Tate with me. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing it so we could be besties. Until next time. Mwah.